Marcus obviously has the camera going. You see the little light, right? So, here's the question I have for you. You got some scrap paper? What is the fastest way to make more money in this business? Your silence scares the shit out of me.
Work with buyers?
Cash buyers?
Okay, work with cash buyers. Okay, work with buyers. Referrals. Okay. Even before that, guys, what's the fastest way to make more money in this business?
Prospecting?
Properties takes time.
Prospecting?
Okay, Marcus is getting closer, right?
Oh, following up?
Following up.
Oh.
What do we call that? What do we call that when we're prospecting or we're following up or asking referrals? What do we call it from the time that we get a lead to the time that we get an appointment with somebody? What do we call that? What do we call it?
Follow up?
No. There's an important word that we should know here. It's called conversion.
Oh,
I'm converting from leads to appointments and appointments to contracts and contracts to sales. So our most important, the fastest way we can do better in this business, because the fact of the matter is, guys, let me just run these numbers for you. Somebody do the math. 725 divided by 66. 725 divided by 66. Or 66 divided by 725.
10.98?
No, reverse that.
Oh, reverse.
66 divided by 725.
0.09.
0.09, right?
Yeah.
So what do those numbers represent? 725 and 66. What does that represent?
Leads.
725 is the number of leads. And what's 66?
Following up.
Contract.
Those are the 66 represents the number of closings we've had so far in this office. Okay?
This year?
This year. All right? So 725 and 66. Now you know what's interesting is, what do we know, guys? Of those 725 leads, what do we know inherently? How many of those can buy a house?
Half of them?
About half of them, 360 of them. We know, just statistically, it's actually a little bit less than half, but about half of them can buy a house. All right? So what I want to let you know is this. What if I call a bunch of people, and I'm talking about working smarter here, not working harder. What if I call a bunch of past clients and I get referrals with my current numbers? How many referrals do I need to get a deal closed? Looking at your current numbers, how many referrals do you need in order to get a deal closed? Your silence scares me. Looking at the current numbers, how many referrals do you need to get from past clients or whatever to get a deal closed?
10? 10 referrals?
Playing the game, Marcus? You would roughly need 11 because you're not quite at 10%. You would need 11 referrals to get a deal closed. Now, let me ask you. Is it easier and faster to call somebody you already have a relationship with and say, let's make an appointment? Or is it easier and faster to call a total stranger, establish rapport, establish trust, and then ask for the appointment? Which one's faster? The one you've already had contact with, right? So the reason I'm getting at this, guys, is what's the fastest way to make more money in this business? What would happen if you jumped your closing percentage 1%?
That's an extra.
What would happen if you jumped your closing percentage 1%? Or your conversion percentage 1%?
It's an extra 2-3 deals.
2, 3, you think?
Well, we had 725, so that would be an extra 7 deals a year.
That would be an extra 7 deals at this point right here. So let's just do the math in incentive here. So if I had 725 leads and I got 10% closings, how many transactions is that? We'll round that up to 73. Okay? Which means at this point in the year, you would have had 7 more closings. Right? What if you jumped your percentage to 12%? Your closing percentage, and not even to 12%.
How do you figure out what's the calculation?
725 times 10%. If you increased your
725 plus 10 plus
times
12%.
10 times 10%, or if you went up to 12%.
Oh, 725 times 0.12
No, just times 0.12.
times 0.12.
You're right.
That's what I said. 87.
Times 0.12. That now jumps to 87. Okay? Now, this is what's interesting, guys, is if I looked at my numbers and stay on that video, I'm going to share something with you. All right, so here we are. So if I looked at my numbers, just to share with you, because everybody, I don't know if everybody looks at Jason and wonders what he's doing, but I sell a lot of houses. So if I looked at my numbers and said, you know, I had 314 leads and I've closed 44 transactions, right? So what's my closing percentage, me personally?
How many leads did you got?
314. So my closing percentage is up to 14%, right? But the brokerage is close to 9.1%. So this is what I want to challenge you guys with. The fastest way to get more money in this business is to increase your closing percentage. Go back to your past leads, follow up with them, call them, make them appointments. Be sure that those people, and this is why you got to take good notes in Zap, is the people that aren't qualified, that can't qualify because they have credit issues. If it was 6 months ago, it might be worth a call to them. Let's try that pre-approval again. You see what I'm saying? I'm sure if I went through the database, I would find leads from 6 months ago that were actually qualified or could have qualified or never ran pre-qualification. Again, those guys in to qualify would be important, right? Yes? So let's talk about that for a second. So let's crunch some numbers here for a second. What is the difference if you just increased your closing percentage? Right now we're currently at 9.1%. If we got them up to 10%, right? So that's a difference of 7 transactions. So if I take 165,000 times, that's our average sales price, right? Let's just assume these are just buyers. That's 412,000. No, I lied to you. Times 2.5% times 7. Who wants to make an additional $28,000 of gross commissionable income every year? Because you have a stake in that, right? It's not $28,000 to the brokerage. It's $28,000 and then what your percentage is on that. Am I correct? Right? That's just jumping it 1%, guys. So if you look at your percentage, most brokers are around 50%. That's $14,000. Who wants $14,000 more a month in their pocket?
A month? Yeah.
I mean, or a year.
That's pretty fucking good.
Right?
Anything.
What if we jumped it? You know, if we got it to the 12%, which is 87, right? 165 times 2.5% times 21. You ready for this? If you got it up 3%, that's $86,000 a year. So what's interesting, guys, and what am I getting at? Okay, so we have currently 725 leads. We have 66 closings. What's the fastest way to make more money in this business?
Conversion.
Conversion. Increase your conversion rates, right? So let's talk about this. How do you increase your conversion rates?
You have to.
You have to
Practice the scripts.
Know what to say.
You have to know what to say,
I
which
like
is
that.
practicing your scripts, right? When's the last time anybody did 15 minutes of robust role playing here? When's the last time anybody did 15 minutes of robust role playing here?
Remember.
Don't remember, right? The guys on the video, when's the last time you did 15 minutes of robust role play? And so, guys, the reason I'm getting at this is it's very, very easy. And I'm just going to share this with you. Like, for example, this week on leads, can I be honest? We sucked on leads. Who missed their lead numbers this week? Who missed their lead numbers this week? Raise the hand. Are you okay with that? Are you okay with that? Because if you missed your lead numbers, the question is, where are you going to feed your family at? If you've missed your lead numbers for several weeks in a row,
They're not going to eat for a couple months.
it starts
Ramen
to get,
noodles.
it starts to get scary. But what I'm getting at, guys, is if you've missed your lead numbers, especially if you've missed your lead numbers for the last couple of weeks, you need to do something. And instead of doing nothing, which if you do nothing, what's the result going to be?
Nothing.
The result's going to be nothing. But you need to do something. And one of the things that you might be able to do is go back to your past leads
That's what I started to do.
and start reaching out to them. Guys, I have thousands of old leads in this office that you can take advantage of if you choose to.
Can I have some?
Yeah. As soon as I go through your database, and be sure that you've touched everybody in your database first.
Yes, I will do that.
Right? Because that's where you start. You don't need to get more. You just need to work with what you have. Okay? But the reason I'm sharing this, guys, is 1% difference. 1% difference,
It's $28,000.
$28,000 into the brokerage, and then you have a share of that. 3% difference, I mean, that's serious money, isn't it? $86,000
Half of that is 40. Yeah.
is 43.
So, yeah, that's
Yeah.
fuck.
That's a whole other agent I can hire if we increase our lead performance. You see what I'm saying? So guys, well, all I'm getting at is sometimes it's really easy. And yes, you need to be generating leads. If you've missed your leads for the last couple of weeks, shame on you. You need to go out and hand out business cards and get names and get phone numbers and follow up with people. At very least, get them into the email e-marketing system and stuff, because crikey, we've got closings going on. We've got new listings going. At least they get an email that says, hey, Caldwell Banker's over here, right? But more importantly, if you're not doing your lead follow-up and stuff, or if you're not generating more leads, you at least need to be able to go through and capture more of the leads that you have already gotten. And it's a very overlooked kind of thing. And what it comes down to is this. When do you follow up with old leads? When should you follow up with old leads?
Like, what do you mean when?
When do I follow up with old leads? When do I go through my database and say, ooh, I've got 1,000 people in there and I haven't touched 600 in who knows how long?
I would
After
say at
hours.
least once a month, at least.
At least once a month you try to set them up, right? And if you don't get to them once a month, what I'm getting at is this, guys. There's a propensity in this industry. I'm not immune to it. I don't think any of us are immune to it, but the overwhelming propensity in this industry is when I'm not busy, when I don't have something that demands my time right now, what do I do? What do I do? You take a nap. I'm going to go home. I'm done early today.
Oh,
And he goes right out the damn door. You see what I'm saying? And what the sad part about it is, guys, that's also why agents fail. Is they sit there and they say, I'm slow, I'm not busy, I'm going to take time off. Guys, if you're slow and you're not busy, is that the time to take off?
That's the time to.
No, you need to go and find out what to do and
That's
do
right.
something.
That's when you got to get going. When you have
Right.
nothing else to do, that should be the red flag saying you're in deep shit. You need to get going when there's nothing to do. If you look at your deal board and you don't have any of your colors up on the board, I can take a day off. I've got as many as 10 transactions closing in November. 10. That's what the average agent does in a year. So I can take a day off. But if you don't have any colors up here, or if the net commission associated with your colors is not acceptable, is it really appropriate to be saying, I'm not busy today, I'm going to go home? Because what it comes down to, and we've been on the family kick lately, right? What it comes down to is when you're not busy and you choose to go home instead of generating more business, who ultimately pays the price?
Your family.
Your family. Ultimately, they pay the price for that decision that you make. This is why, guys, generally between 8 o'clock in the morning and 6 p.m. at night, what do I do? What do I do?
Buster hump.
What do I do? Generally between 8 and 6.
Prospect?
What do I do? Generally between 8 and 6.
You work.
I work. And I try not to, I dilly-dally a little bit, but generally between 8 and 6, I'm in my office, or I'm on an appointment, or I'm door knocking, or I'm doing something. That way my family doesn't have to suffer when there's slow times. Does that make sense? But I use the slow times to generate more business. When it's slow, I door knock. When it's slow, I call my past database. When it's slow, I go after the Rob Zollingers of the world and take control of that. I'm not going to let some other agent get that listing. I want that shit. Does that make sense? So my point being, guys, is if you went back through and just called your past leads, it's a little slow right now. I can tell it's a little slow because nobody's hitting their lead numbers. Nobody has significant numbers of appointments. Nobody's making significant numbers of conversations according to the current statistics. So it must be slow. The choice you have is, do I let it continue to be slow, or do I take charge and go be proactive so that way it's not slow and generate business for myself? And what's remarkable is this. We're on November 9th right now. November 9th, that's today. When you start doing business now, when you start door knocking now, when you start calling old leads now, when does it help you?
The beginning of the year.
January.
It's going to help you in January. I mean, it's going to help you now, but it's really going to take effect in January. Does that make sense? And so if you want to have a great 2018, when does it start?
Like right now.
Like right now. Most real estate agents, guys, when do they start prospecting and preparing for 2018?
January.
Or sometimes February, right? But if you want to have a great January, guys, it starts now. You want to have a decent December, it starts now. Instead of saying, I'm slow and there's nothing to do, what you should be saying is, it's slow, how can I generate business? Asking that question, how, is very, very important. Does that make sense? All right. So that being said, I'm good, Marcus.